All right, first off, King, we just did something that we've never done on the show.
What is
before.
that?
We stopped for a moment so that Alexis could bring you a chocolate shake in the middle of the show.
Now,
You love these things.
normally someone with diabetes and heart things should not have a chocolate milkshake. However, I've lost weight, and I don't know why. They say it comes with aging. I try to have a daily milkshake to not lose any more.
Yeah, that's a little callback to Brooklyn, right?
Oh yeah, we had malteds too, where they put malt in.
Yeah.
The candy store. There's no candy stores anymore.
There's no candy. Well, now they've got like, Beverly Hills Super Deluxe fancy.
I'm talking about a candy
store. No,
store.
you're talking about candy, yeah.
With a jukebox, and you sit in, and you have egg creams.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about age. I guess it's a little weird to talk about at some level. You are 84, 85?
I'll be 85 in November.
Okay, so
Can't believe it. My father died at 46. I've had every known disease. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm this age.
What does it feel like? I mean, you've had a couple heart attacks, diabetes, a couple of things, and you're still here. You're doing your thing. You're out and about every morning. I bump into you half the time in LA.
I think that is the reason I'm around, is that I have a purpose. I'm amazed at people who retire. As Milton Berle told me once when I asked him, "Are you going to retire?" And he said, "To what? What would I do?" If I get up in the morning and had nothing to do, that's terrible. So I have a place to go to follow my profession. That's wonderful. If you can keep that going, I'll probably die on the air. Someone asked, "What would you like?"
You really want to increase my YouTube views right now, King?
Yeah. What would you like your obituary to read? And I said, "Oldest man who ever lived, passed away today." In his sleep with a smile on his face.
But you still get a kick out of everything. I know it. So wait, just real quick, tell everybody a little bit about you have these breakfasts with your old crew.
Well, some of them have passed away. The guys I grew up with in Brooklyn, but we have a crew of about 5 or 6. We meet every day at different places. And I tell you the truth, David, we solve the problems of the world. Today, we solved Iraq. Hey, audience, no worries about Iraq. The table solved it this
Mostly
morning.
through jokes.
We do our jokes. We talk about people get in arguments. We talk about Israel. We talk about hearings. Who's this? What's this senator doing? What's he doing? And then we also discuss Sinatra and old-time musicians and who's doing what and what did Barbara Streisand make on her last tour. And so we never know where the discussion is going. And that's the wonderful, and when you can have friends from childhood, 2 of mine have passed away, but I still have 2 others. The best thing about it is I'm not Larry King. I'm Larry Zeiger. That was my birth name. Yeah. And they're very happy for me, but I'm still, hey, button your button on your shirt. You know what I mean? They don't treat you like anything different.
What's it like as somebody of a certain age now where, you just mentioned you've lost some childhood friends, your brother passed away just, I think, 6 or so months ago, yeah. Just watching life turn in that way.
That's the saddest. Sinatra told me once, the saddest thing about aging is your friends go before you. I didn't want my brother to die before me.
He was your younger brother, right?
Yeah. He was 80. Yeah, he was 80. Loss is hard. It's because I don't believe in afterlife. I'm not religious.
You think this is it?
Maybe that's it. I've interviewed thousands of people who said they've seen death and all this. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It just makes no sense to me that Lincoln is up there, or that there's someone up there looking down on me. I went to my grandchildren's, they're twins, a boy and a girl, so they had a bat and a bar mitzvah. And for the first time in ages, I read from the Old Testament. That God.
He's a piece of work, huh?
Son of a bitch, jeez. did he hate it? Rot my enemies, loot out, show me one good thing. My God, believe in me above. He was vain. Incredible. He was a Donald Trump before there was a Donald Trump. Believe in me above all others. I can't believe it. So when I read that, I couldn't believe it. So I can't buy it. I've interviewed all the great religious leaders except Pope.
Yeah.
I've never been convinced.
So when you've sat down, I mean, you've sat down with everybody from the Dalai Lama across the board with
Billy Graham was a friend.
Yeah. So when you've sat down with them, even if you don't believe it, did you feel that some of them were able to get something out of belief?
I believe they believe.
Yeah.
Unless there are some phonies, you know, send in $10 and I'll send you a little cross. And
Yeah.
don't buy any of that.
You probably sat down with some of those guys too, right?
Oh yeah, Jerry Falwell. As George Burns once said, when he played God, it's a great movie.
Great movie, great movie.
And he gathers all the religious leaders, and he calls in a Jerry Falwell type. And the Falwell type goes, see, he called me in first. Goes up to his room, sits down, and God says to him, why don't you sell shoes? So I never bought that part. But I like Billy Graham, respected him. Billy Graham thought I was very spiritual. And do I believe Billy is with Jesus now? No. But Billy believed it. Billy believed he was going to Jesus. He didn't have a fear of death. He had a fear of being in a plane that's going down to crash. But he didn't fear death. I feared. I don't. I'm like Woody Allen. I don't fear it. I just don't want to be there when it happens. I can't believe. So my wife believes. I respect believers. See, when I approach an interview with Billy Graham, I respect him. I ask him the best questions I could ask, like, why do you need to stay at the Fontainebleau? Or as I've quoted Lenny Bruce to him, any person who's got a calling from the Lord to lead the flock, who has more than one suit, while someone has no clothes, is a cop-out. And Billy Graham said, in today's world, you have to have more than one suit. You have to travel. I asked him if Christ...
Right. Jesus probably had one pair of flip-flops.
Christ what would Christ, would he buy suits? And he said yes, and he would go on television. That was the means of communication. I mean, that's their answer. Yeah. But he believed it. I respected his belief, but I'm not afraid to ask him any question. If, when you die, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you will live forever, what happens to Jews? And he said, well, I don't go into them, but maybe at the moment of their death, they accept Christ. That's kind of a cop-out to me.
Right, there's always sort of another answer, I suppose. Did you ever talk to anybody, either religious or otherwise, that you felt had some sort of special insight into some of this?
Well, I had this doctor on who was convinced that he had died, visited what the world of afterlife was, and then his life was saved. He was a recognized doctor. He knew what disease he had. I threw it up to a vivid imagination, and he got a best-selling book out of it. People want to believe. You know, I wished that I had faith, that I could make, it's called a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You can't prove it. So it's a leap of faith. Now, we have faith in a lot of things. You get on an airplane, you have the faith that that airplane company hired a licensed pilot, right? But you have some core of belief that you think if you jump out of the 10th floor of a building, you're not going to make it. So you don't jump. The people who have that faith, who go beyond, I just think they've got a great crutch. A great crutch to know you're going somewhere.
Yeah. But at the end, do you think it matters? If they live a good life and you live a good life?
First of all, they're never going to know.
Yeah.
If they go somewhere, they were right. If they don't know because they're dead.
Yeah.
So they got a good deal going. They really have a good deal. I don't have if I've got an afterlife, I'll be shocked.
Yeah. But you'll be doing this.
Oh, I will. Absolutely.
Or maybe you'll be playing baseball up there.
I'm not that good.
You're not that good. Let's talk a little bit about politics. You mentioned Trump. We did about 40 minutes. His name didn't even come up once.
First time in American conversation that any two people had a conversation for 40 minutes and the name Trump did not. That's one thing he's done. I'll bet you everyone in America at one time today said the name Trump.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Is there anyone else that in the years that you've been doing this that you saw just that effect?
He's the only president that I've known for 40 years. I met the other presidents, some before they became president, Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, but they were in the political sphere. Mm-hmm. But Trump is the only one that was my friend before he went. Trump and I went to the Super Bowl together.
Yeah, can you talk about
Trump and I were
Trump?
Fathers of the Year together.
Is that
in
right?
1995. He had his kids, I had my kids. As Waldorf Astoria, we got trophies. I went to see Marla Maples in her Broadway show. I went with Trump. I stayed at his hotels. When I had some minor surgery in New York, he took my wife out to dinner the night before. He comped me at every hotel he owned, put me in a suite at the Plaza when he owned the Plaza. But one thing we always knew about Trump, he was a character, and he lied. Now, he almost lied by it's snowing out when it wasn't. You know, he'd be on my show and say, highest rating ever, right? And it was all about him, but he was a character and it was fun.
Yeah.
And he could be very nice and generous, okay? Had all those qualities, but he was a character. I mean, he would call up the New York Post with a different name and tell them stories about Donald Trump so he can get on page 6. That was his goal. But president? President? Are you kidding? Anybody, any of us who knew him years ago, first, he was a moderate to central Democrat. Supported Hillary Clinton, loved Hillary Clinton. Thought she was a great senator. He wanted single-payer health care. He didn't care about abortion. Come on. Evangelicals? I don't think Donald ever read a book. But he was a friendly character to be around, a wonderful guest, a lot of fun, fly off the top, but president. President.
So what do you make about what happened here? Like,
I have no idea. Well, Hillary was a bad candidate, a wonderful person. I know Hillary very well. Great sense of humor. Sad. I don't know what she didn't go to Wisconsin.
Did you get a different Hillary when you would interview her publicly? This is what a lot of the meme about her is that she's very friendly and open.
And one-on-one, she's good.
Yeah.
In front of an audience, she's not. She's not a good. She's running for something. Now, I went to Yom Kippur service where she was the speaker. She was terrific. She wasn't running for anything. She was a senator from New York, damn good senator. She ran a horrendous campaign, and she was not a good campaign. I thought she won the debates, but it almost didn't matter. Trump became... Well, Trump got elected with that first question in the first Republican debate when he was asked about women, and did he ever call women pigs? And he said, only Rosie O'Donnell. And he sat in the middle of all the Republicans. Why did they seat him in the middle?
He was just
4 on one side, 4 on the other.
Did you really think it then, from that moment, that he just
I thought he would ignite something, but I thought he was dead when he said the thing about McCain isn't a hero. Certainly when he got off the bus with Billy Bush, I thought that was over. But his base doesn't care. If evangelicals can put aside his personal life, he'll never lose them. He'll never, I've never lived in weirder times. I mean, this is the weirdest time to every day.
Yeah.
There's a story.
Does this truly, in all your years, does this right now feel like a truly, truly unique time? Because people ask me that a lot of the public events I do, and I think the answer is yes, although you always think it when you're living it, but
of course
give
it's
me perspective.
Do you believe that somebody said one day, do you see what Lincoln said? Well, do you hear what Roosevelt did last night? Did you see the speech that Carter made to the UN? Was that weird? No. They didn't do weird things. They were president. I remember I was in the White House interviewing George Bush, and Barbara Bush said to me, Larry, suspenders in the White House? You know, she was the White House. This place is now, I wonder what it's like in there. The guy writes the op-ed page in the New York Times. My God, The Woodward book, fascinating book. We're living in those times.
Yeah.
Woodward can't believe it.
But I can see as you talk about it, there's a glimmer in your eye, like there's something exciting about this. Do you think that that's in a weird way the good part of this, even if it's kind of helter-skelter now? And
I'm glad I'm not on CNN now. I wouldn't want to be doing panels every day and Trump all the time. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not the whole world. Trump's not the whole world. He thinks he's the whole world.
How important do you think politics actually is? Because I think now there's maybe, what I'm realizing now is that this is really about culture, what we're fighting right now. This battle that seems to be fought, it's about culture. It's about what do we really care about, what do we like, not just about the ins and outs and machinations of
You know what, I
politics.
think too much of America is still prejudiced against Latinos, blacks. That still runs through a lot of this, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
People voting against their own self-interest. You know, I want to face it with something. Obamacare is working for a lot of people. You don't hear many complaints about people who are under it and getting good medical care. I'm not sure they'll ever do away with it. It's just those kind of facts. So it bothers me when I see that why we still have prejudice in America and appeal to it. I mean, Trump, even his defendant would say he appeals to it. What do we need? We need a wall.
Do you think that's a play by him? I mean, for all the years that you knew him, did you think he was racist, or that this is...
I never thought he was racist.
Yeah.
I think he was opportunistic. He took advantage of a situation. So we used to say he wasn't smart. He wasn't book smart. I bet at school he got a gentleman's C.
Mm-hmm.
The big influences in his life were Roy Cohn, who I knew very well,
Yeah.
and his father. And they were bad influences. I mean, Roy Cohn was a bad... I liked him because he was peculiar.
Yeah.
But he was a...
Wait, for the people that don't know who Roy Cohn is.
He was a bad guy. He was part of the McCarthy era and
Yeah.
all that. Angels in America he played a part in that play. And he was affected by that. So I never thought he was a racist, but his narcissism was beyond belief. I in every other sentence. I did this, I did that. I'm the greatest president we've ever had. How could you say that? How could you say that?
So if you were sitting down with him...
I would say, Donald, why? I spoke to him every day during the campaign, not every day, once a week during the campaign. He knew I was voting for Hillary, but we were friends, and he would call me, what do you think it is? I'm doing this, what do you think of that? I got this, what do you think it is? I'm going to do an interview with the New York Times. You know the guy. Should I do this? And then when he was elected, I never heard from him again. I haven't heard.
Do you think we can get out of this polarization that we seem to be in? So if we're in this unique time right now and crazy time?
How's it going to change? You know, we don't have a forceful leader. It might be Bloomberg to lead us. We need someone to lead us out. We need Gary Cooper. Maybe George Clooney in the modern society. I'm not kidding. George Clooney, and he is bright, George Clooney would be very popular. Women's vote, smart as a whip.
What does that tell you, though, if we need to go to celebrities? You think maybe we're just in this
So
forever
that's
now?
what it is.
It just is.
That's the internet. That's the world we live in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like George a lot. I'd vote for him.
Yeah. But do you think we can get out of this thing?
Well, they say America always comes through everything. George Will, who's become very anti-Trump, believes we can find a way again. America has a way of finding a way. I hope so. I hope I'm around to see it. But right now, you know, in my early, I could name every senator. 10, 20 years ago, every senator.
Yeah.
And Orrin Hatch and Ted Kennedy were great friends, sponsored bills together. Hatch did his eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't exist today. Today, the thing is so bad. When Obama nominated his guy for the Supreme Court, I shouldn't forget his name, and they never brought it up.
Yeah, not Gorsuch. We'll get it. We'll get it.
When we nominate people like that, who was pretty much middle of the road.
Oh, Garland, Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
If I were the Democrats now and they take the Senate, I would hold up any appointment until they can have a president, and the first person I'd appoint would be Merrick Garland, who deserved to be on that court.
Yeah, so this is just both of them playing politics to the nth degree.
But will we have a chance? I don't see it coming. You know, when Merrick Garland was nominated, for example, Orrin Hatch, before he knew they would delay it, said he's a great man.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes party over country. Party over country. Sad. Will you think it's going to change?
I think that the outrage machine that we're running on right now, I think it can only last for so long. So I think it'll either blow up into something much worse, and I don't even know what I mean by that, but I think things would actually get much worse, and some of this would actually spill over into violence, or what my hope is, and I think this is the more realistic option, is that the outrage will start running out of steam like a car running out of gas, and that from that, somebody, whether maybe it's your Clooney or it's whoever else it is, just a decent human being, a Bloomberg or something else, will come back and decency will be appreciated again. Because I don't think this outrage thing can run forever. It's too mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting.
There's a decent man I've known for years is Joe Biden. Nobody dislikes him. Wonderful father. I thought he was a great senator. Great vice president. If he were a little younger.
Can you imagine? He'd be, what, 82 or something?
Yeah, because you can't dislike him.
You want to be VP?
No, I couldn't take the cut and pay.
All right, let's finish up with some big picture stuff. Looking back, is there anything you would have done differently? Career-wise?
Wouldn't have gotten married as much. I would have gone national sooner. I had the talent, but I was a big fish in a smaller pond in Miami. And I liked that. I had radio, television, column in the Miami Herald, you know. Everybody knew me in Miami. I never sent a tape to New York.
Right.
I should have. I would have liked to have gone national sooner.
Just to have more success earlier, you think?
Yeah, to appeal to more people, because I had something, I knew I was good. I knew I was good at what I did. And I didn't really get well known until my 50s, and I think it could have happened in the 30s. I'm not any better than I was in the 30s. I'm not better today than I was when I was in my late 20s. I always was curious. I always let my ego at the door, always asked short questions, always got really interested in the guest. That never changed. Sometimes someone will play me a tape that they had from 30 years ago. Still me.
Yeah.
I'm still there, still asking questions.
I think the first time I interviewed you, I asked you something about the ego component relative to interviewing, and your answer, I loved it, and I've really tried to incorporate it in what I do, which is you said, the show was called Larry King Tonight. My ego is already stroked.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. My motto, it's a good motto, Dave. It could be your motto, could be anybody's motto. If Donald Trump had this motto, we would be a better country. This is my motto. I never learned anything when I was talking. Think about it. I never learned anything when I was talking. Now, I may impart things to people. I may bring some knowledge, but I haven't learned anything when I'm talking.
It feels like a privilege in a way, right? When you have somebody great across from you and you get
Damn right.
This, I'm telling you, this hour of my life is a privilege.
Oh, to be on the Rubin Report, to be part of what, by the way, since it's a report, do I get a grade?
You will be graded at the, oh, trust me, the YouTube commenters, They're gonna,
oh, we get YouTube commenters?
They're gonna,
see, I don't have the wherewithal. How do you go
trust
to
me, Larry King, that is the last thing I want to impart on you. All right, final question. Here we go. What's it all about? I've asked you this. I've asked you some version of this many times
every day?
before. What's it all about, my friend?
What's it all about, and what does it all mean? What does it mean? 100 years from today, who's going to care? Right? John Lowenstein once hit a grand slam home run for the Orioles to beat the Yankees. And the crowd went crazy. Someone said, John, how does it feel? And he said, 100 million Chinese don't give a damn. What does it all mean? The answer is, I don't know.
All right, my friend. Well, despite the fact that you did not wear suspenders today, which
I did not. I wanted to be totally casual with you.
This is what it's about. What we just did for the last hour.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
My pleasure, and thank you for the milkshake.
All right, you guys can check out Larry on Aura TV and follow him on Twitter @KingsThings.